Yeah. All right. I am here with Lisa Urbanski. Some of you might remember her from an earlier episode we did last month. And I am so excited to have her back. A little bit about Lisa. She is the true definition of resilience, reinvention, and unapologetic power. Lisa Urbanski calls herself the unconventional, conventional woman, and trust me, once you hear her story, you'll understand why. She's lived many lives, once a probation officer, then working in law, following the so called successful path. But life had other plans. After battling addiction, struggling with anxiety and depression, and facing a condition that left her on disability for 1.5 years, Lisa had every reason to give up. Instead, she engineered her own comeback. Through cognitive reframing, biohacking, and sheer determination, she reclaimed her mind, her body, and her life. Now she's not just surviving, she's thriving. As the CEO of her own life, Lisa is on a mission to help others break free from their own limitations, rewrite their stories, and step into their full power. Get ready for a raw, real, and unconventional conversation with the one and only Lisa Urbanski. Lisa, how are you doing today?
Hey, I'm so good. So good. How are you doing today?
Doing wonderful. Thank you so much for being here today.
My
Um,
pleasure.
we've gotten to know each other quite well for the past 5, 6 months, and you have a really, really interesting story and background. And I can see you as well, like within the circles that we're a part of, that you're just so, willing to connect with people. You're very driven, you're very ambitious. Like I can see it. And anybody that's watching by the end of this episode will be able to see that, you're really gonna go places.
Mm,
And so I wanted to first ask, you call yourself the unconventional conventional woman. What does that mean to you?
yeah. So thanks for having me. This is so much fun, and it's been such a pleasure and honor to connect with you over these past months. Um, so the unconventional, conventional woman, which is so hard to say, and I'm going to regret this like 5 years from now, especially with my URL. Um, when I think of it, and I sat down and I wrote about it one day, and this is the definition that describes it. So, the unconventional conventional woman is a woman who, while adhering to some traditional norms and expectations, also exhibits unique, non-conforming behaviors or characteristics, defying societal expectations in certain areas. So, I describe myself as a woman who just like does her own thing. I will not end up in jail. I don't do things that break the law, but I do things because they light me up, and I do things based on my gut, my intuition, and my experience from my past. I mean, what a better way to learn how to prioritize myself by going through the things I did. So that's kind of where it comes from. It suits me so well. It's just who I am. I'm like little devil ears, but I'm such an angel. So it's like,
Amazing, amazing. And I see that too. You are breaking a lot of norms that most people are following for their trajectories. You're on a different one for
hmm,
sure.
hmm.
And if you had to describe who you are today in just 3 words, what would that be?
Unstoppable, unbreakable, and happy.
I'm sure a lot of us can relate to that as well, especially within our audience, those who are watching. Um,
Mm,
we really, really are trying to step away from the norm, and I love the words that you describe yourself with so much. But
mm.
let's talk a little bit about your childhood and early life. Um, let's go back to where it all started. What was young Lisa like?
Yeah, so I'm like picturing myself right now being this little cute girl with this curly hair. I don't know where the curls went, but I just remember being given so many responsibilities by people, like going in kindergarten and the principal being like, "Oh, we have a student coming in from overseas. Can you help them find their bus?" And I'm like, "What? What's going on?" Like everybody has always been attracted to me. And as a young Lisa, I felt like such an anomaly in the world. And I felt like I didn't relate to anything or anyone. I felt completely misunderstood and so confused by all of the energy and emotion that I was feeling. So it was like a constant state of almost feeling like I was from another planet, if that makes sense. Um, so yeah, I was cute and loved sports and did different things, but I had all these energies coming in that translated to anxiety because I felt so isolated. Even though people were driven to me, I just felt so isolated.
And what would you tell your younger self who was feeling these emotions?
Um, I made the joke the other day to tell my younger self to get a haircut and get a real job. But at 5 years old, um, at 5 years old, I think I would like my younger self, just trust it, trust yourself. You're gonna make change in the world. Like I don't know, you're meant to be here. Just embrace yourself for being uniquely you.
Mhm, mhm.
And it's okay because I mean, when I tried to talk to adults about how I was feeling, it was like, go see a doctor. We need you to go talk to someone. Like, what's going on? Because no one really understood that. I don't know if many people do actually.
Mhm, mhm. And all this anxiety that, played out as a result of you being different from your peers, breaking out of maybe, like, adults' expectations for you, um, how did that manifest into your years where you were struggling with, addiction and depression?
Yeah, so Simon, that's the thing is I present so effing strong. Like I show up and I just do it. I show up and I get it done. And everyone thinks that's the veil. So as a youngster, I would still show up. I would do the best I could. I'm a Virgo. I'm driven. I'm determined. I work hard. My parents drove that work ethic into me. But because I was not looking inward and dealing with those feelings, um, it was overwhelming. So my nervous system was completely out of whack. And when I tried substance for the first time, I was like, holy smokes, like I do not feel anymore. And now I feel superhuman, like a superhero with something that's gonna like help me thrive so I don't have to deal with my nervous system. So I think that's where it all began in hindsight. That's the only connection. Plus, I'm also so super curious. So, like, I found out that people were like, what does alcohol do? And how does putting the substance in my body, how is that going to make me feel? And so I was always really open to experimentation and trying new things and I guess biohacking, but that's not biohacking at its best. That's dangerous biohacking. But man, did it open my mind up to a whole new world.
The word you used, biohacking, I've seen it come up in a lot of different spaces as of late. What would your definition of biohacking be for those that maybe aren't as familiar?
Yeah, biohacking, like in a healthy way, which is what I focus on and have been for the past 10 years of my life, is optimizing your body using natural ways. So biohacking can be something simple as waking up and having going into a cold plunge. That's a way of biohacking your body to optimization, putting the right things in our body, nutrition, supplementation, utilizing tools such as like caffeine, natural caffeine to optimize performance. Um, so yeah, that's how I would describe it. Body optimization by using tools that just make us feel good naturally.
Mhm, mhm. And what kind of role did biohacking play, both when you were maybe struggling with addiction and how you're showing up now?
Mm. So when I was, I don't know, I don't want to use, well, it is biohacking, but I mean, when I was in
Mhm,
the unhealthy routine of using substance like chemical substances, opiates, my vice was opiates and So when I was doing that, sorry, what was the question? You asked me, how did it play a role then and how does it play a role now? Or
Yeah, so I mean, or you can speak just more generally, like what was your experience when you were struggling with these things? Um,
Mhm.
how did biohacking either contribute or help you get out of that phase? And like, why is it relevant to what you do today?
Oh God. So yeah, that thank you for clarifying. So when I woke up one day and was done with the unhealthy cycle, I had to crawl out of my dark, dark hole and figure out ways to make myself feel good naturally. So if anyone's out there struggling with addiction or has been through an addiction, you know that when you don't have your substance in your body, your brain cannot produce the good feeling chemicals. So your serotonin, your endorphins, all of that is depleted because it's like, give me my substance. I need this to feel good. So instead of turning to that, I started turning to things like podcasts and mindset work. I started doing manifestation. I started doing yoga. I started taking healthy supplements, methylated B vitamins. I would go see my naturopath. I started reading about how to feel good naturally. And I also started connecting with other people who were struggling because I've always had this gift of connection with people and making people feel comfortable and warm and safe. And to me, that gives me those good feeling vibes. So it was just a matter of new things, healthy ways, and adding those things into my life one by one. But it happened over time. At first, I literally just slept all day. So for like a year straight. So let's be honest, it's not easy getting through an addiction. Oh, and a
Totally.
lot of Sex in the City, a lot of Sex in the City and Friends. I just binged Sex and the City and Friends and slept and ate popcorn bowls of sugar and cereal and gained
Hmm.
like 75 pounds. Like that was the
Hmm.
first year of my sober experience. It was not at all like nice. And there was nothing nice about it. And there was nothing fun about it. And I cried a lot. And so I think that's important to note is that you have to release those emotions too. And so I just let my body do what it needed to do.
Hmm. Hmm. What was it though about your experience with addiction that made you realize like this is not sustainable? Like I need to fight my way out of this because so many people that I think they're just they're either complacent with their addiction or it just takes too much effort to get out of it in the first place. What was different about your mindset that helped you recover?
Yeah. So I always had this really, really this burning desire and this burning feeling to help change the world. So when I
Hmm.
was using substance, when I was in these really toxic environments, I felt so disconnected from who I was. It was almost like I was looking at my life and being like, Urbanski, what are you doing? This isn't you. You got to get out of this. You're going to make it. You're going to be fine. There were so many times where I didn't know if I was going to make it. And I was in and out
Hmm.
of rehab like 3 times. And the higher power and like the higher level of consciousness kept speaking to me and saying, you're still here, fight for this. You're going to change the world. You're going to make a difference. One day you're going to utilize this experience and you're going to help so many people. Trust it. You've got this. You're fine. Work through the pain. So there was these constant messages coming at me, and I would take those moments and I would grab onto them and I would shove them in my heart and I would believe and I would never, ever let go of that belief. I didn't let go of that belief once. I questioned it at times, but I just knew in my heart that the world, the universe had a bigger plan for me.
I love that so much. And one thing that I've really, really utilized to help me get through difficult times, just being fully transparent, I didn't go through an addiction phase, anything like what you went through. But, with every stage in everyone's life, people do experience different difficulties. And for me, being an entrepreneur for the past year and a half has really presented some real challenges. And so, what you were saying about like having a greater vision, believing in something greater that encourages you to keep going. If I didn't listen to myself, if I didn't listen to my intuition, if I didn't believe in a higher power to like continue to tell me keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, I for sure would have given up by now as well. So that's incredibly, incredibly inspiring. I do think people need to believe in a higher power to be able to believe in themselves, to get
Mm.
hard times. And I wanted to ask as well, so later on in life, you had a career in law. How did that align or clash with who you were at the time?
Yeah. So, I mean, just like anything, we go through experiences until we figure out who we are and what we're meant to be doing. So,
Mm,
on my sober journey, I mean, I was still in my addiction when I was going to university. I was doing drugs in the parking lot, going to class, writing papers, getting up, getting to university, writing exams. And I had this, like, I still do, obviously. I love people. I love psychology. I love the psychology of people and why they do the things they do. So, in my mind, I tied that to criminal law. And I ended up working a career in probation, and I found that really interesting. And I loved interviewing people for pre-sentence reports. So what I would do is I would talk to the accused, and I would write a report that would go to the judge. And based on my report of them, which I would call their family, their friends, their employer, and I would get like a worldview scope of who they were. Um, that was interesting to me. But then I don't want to get too much into this because I don't like speaking on these topics because of, the controversy. But I mean, our current justice system, there's a lot of things that I didn't agree with. And I felt like this person needs rehabilitation in certain ways that they're not being offered. So that started to bother me. So I didn't go down that path. And then I went into like the legal field. So I was a paralegal for a decade and working family law, criminal law, and again, felt so disconnected from who I was. That black and white world, when I'm a person that sees the world in color, I would go to the office, I would be super irritable. Someone would cough and I'd be like, I'm gonna kill you. Just like these like things were just irritating my nervous system. Um, and then when the universe gave me my next step, which was ironically getting really, really, really sick. Um, when I was at home recovering from that, um, I was like, what am I doing? This isn't my path. So again, I relearned what I needed to do based on those years of experience. But I truly believe I did that for my organization and like work ethic because you have to be so organized to be a paralegal. So there's all these things that like lined up. So the universe gave me that path just to teach me lessons to prepare me for what's to come, which is, this phase of my life.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. We go through challenges and we can either have the perspective that they're happening to us or they're happening for us,
Hmm.
right? And the only way that we grow is by taking each challenge as a lesson, no matter how shitty it seems at the time, and look at you now.
Oh, thank you.
And, transitioning from your law career into what you're doing now, do you want to just give a little bit of background for the listeners? How did you get started as an entrepreneur? Like, what is it about what you're doing that, drives your passion, and what kind of impact are you looking to make on the world?
Yeah, great question. So when I was on disability, I ended up, um, and I couldn't practice my law career anymore.
Mhm.
I was about ready to get back to work. And so I was working like very few hours and I get a phone call from a job recruiter in the legal world. Legal, like paralegals got poached all the time. If you were good at what you did, everybody wanted to work with you. So this lady says to me, "Hey, Lisa, I got this job for you." And she goes, "It's at this law firm. You're going to be working with this person. How do you feel about that? It's a step up." And I said to her, "Honestly, I don't want to do this anymore." And like I could feel like her mouth like hit the floor. And like that's all I said. She goes, "All right." So she goes to her book and she like or whatever online and she's looking for stuff. She goes, "What about this?" She goes, "It's a community services position for this company and you'd be working with therapy dogs. I said, done. I'm going to interview. So I went to this interview for a whole new career, took a huge pay cut, and started this job working with therapy dogs. So before I got on my entrepreneurial path, I built a therapy dog program on a business model that I created. So I had 152 therapy dogs in the community going to places like hospitals, care homes, the jail, businesses in order to help people in their day to day. And with that job, I got to connect with community. I built the business model, I did the finances, I did everything on my own, which showed myself that you can do anything. You're an entrepreneur, like you've built this business. And it gave me the fire to want my own thing. So I'm helping the community and it's so rewarding. And I'm just seeing like the impact that these therapy dogs are making on people and saving them in moments that are just like heartbreaking. And so that was just pulling at my heartstrings. But it wasn't mine. And so as I'm doing this for somebody else, I'm like, this isn't mine. I have so much potential. You need to do something. So that was the catalyst that really got me confident. Like, you need to work with people, you need to help people thrive, you need to connect with people, and you need to do something bigger, but it needs to be your own. So that was kind of the catalyst to my entrepreneurial journey. Um, and then I found a product that changed my life and wanted to share it with the world. And so I started taking these little pieces and building my own brand based on my goals and what I knew I could do.
Amazing. Can you tell me and any of the viewers with a little bit more detail what that looks like?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm branded as the unconventional conventional woman. I do direct sales for a company that sells frequency charge supplementation, which changed my life. Their hero product is 7 mushrooms, aminos, and frequencies. So frequencies started like it's like biohacking at its best. So I'm obsessed. So when I started taking these supplements, I was like, oh my God, like everyone needs to know about this. This is by far the most impactful product I've ever had. But then I started networking and I met a woman who um, genuinely wants to help see people thrive and change the world as well. And we became business partners in that moment. It was like we didn't even say anything. We fell in love with each other. And she's like my big sister. And she's been in the TV industry for 25 years. And she asked me to work with her and co host on her podcast. So I am helping her grow her business by helping people thrive, which is in a huge, huge way, like the biggest impact I can make because it's international and I get to connect with people all over the world and empower them and connect them to the audience and help their businesses thrive by using my voice and my experiences. So yeah, that's a little bit. Plus, I do public speaking. I do a lot of speaking gigs and empowerment stuff. So I have like a big collective mix of different things that I do for myself in order to make money now.
Amazing, amazing. Where do you see yourself in the future? Like, what does, you're putting in a lot of effort into, several different projects at the time being. What what do you see as being the end result, or is there an end result for you?
You know what, Simon? I really just focus on the feeling. And so
Mhm.
I'm about feeling. So when I picture my greatest best self, I picture her on top of a mountaintop, standing there, and the sun is gleaming down on me, and I feel fucking amazing. So that's where I'm going. And whatever that takes me, wherever we go along the way, whatever things come into my world, I'm just going to embrace with an open mind and an open heart, letting things evolve and changing.
I love that. I love that. Live in the moment. Don't be chasing happiness. Don't be chasing paradise. Paradise is already found within you if you decide it is so.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
and what's one belief or habit that's completely transformed your life?
I think it's exactly what we just talked about is living moment to moment, like seeing the beauty
Mhm.
in every little thing. I have a twisted mind. So when something negative or challenging, I don't like to use the word negative. I wish I could take that back. But when there's a challenging season, I'm like excited to know what the universe is preparing for me. So I'm a true believer that every single thing happens for a reason. There is nothing that happens by chance. And so I live by the premise of like everything is as it should all the time. And so I surrender every single morning and I say, like, show me what I need to see. I wake up and I pretend I know nothing so that I can continue to learn and grow without any ego. And I just believe that the universe has my back because of what I'm putting out there. I'm like a friggin' Care Bear, sending love and light to everybody. And there's challenges with that, but I'm a believer that what you give out is what you get back. And I'll continue to live that way for the rest of my life, no matter what my level of success is. And when I am at the top, I'm going to still be this woman who's humble, who is grateful, who has so much gratitude, and who wakes up every day thankful that I get to breathe.
I love that so much. Just coming off of that, I saw somebody interview a man, and he asked him, if you could take $10 million today, would you take it? And of course, the man says yes. But the caveat is that if you take this $10 million, you don't get to wake up tomorrow. And so he says, well, then I wouldn't take it. But that just goes to show that waking up every single day is worth more than $10 million. The fact that we get to wake up and breathe and experience a new day is worth more than any amount of money. But sometimes we just seem to forget that. We like to take our life for granted. We expect that tomorrow is just going to come, when in reality, anything could happen, right? And this is what the Stoics talked about as well. Just don't treat tomorrow for granted. Do it now. And I think, Lisa, everything that you've been talking about today really embodies the principle of living in the moment, of living this, unconventional lifestyle. What would you say that, being the unconventional, conventional woman, what does that mean for the world?
That means that, I've got this visionary mindset. I can see
Mhm.
10 years into the future. And so
Mhm.
when I'm working with a client, when I'm working with somebody, and I've got a heart of gold, so I'm able to kind of like give them the direct path based on what I see. So I work from intuition, I work from, energetics, I work from frequency and connection. So that means that the world can expect like a genuine, authentic girl all the time that just wants to help see people thrive. So I'm always going to put that first. And I'm a businesswoman, so I need monetary. I need funds coming in, but my number one value is authenticity and genuinely being who I am. And I would never do anything that I did not feel right about or good about. So it's like everything I'm putting out to the world can expect it to be genuine and authentic and that I truly believe in it. So I'm always going to operate on that premise. So the world is lucky to have me.
That it is. That it is. And one final question for you, Lisa. Everything that you've shared today has been just really awe-inspiring. Those that have really gotten to know you, I think, would come to the same conclusion. You really are, one in a million.
Mm.
You've experienced addiction. You've experienced, bouts of depression. You've really gone through a major, major struggle with getting to where you are today. But I think a lot of people in this world, they kind of just accept that their life is forever going to be difficult. They just accept that, like just living a complacent life. They're too absorbed in how shitty the struggle feels to really want to upgrade their lives. What would you tell people that are currently in this mindset? How would you motivate them to seek something greater than what they're currently experiencing?
Hmm. I just immediately react. My nervous system just feels that on such a deep level. So the first thing I would do is give them like the biggest hug in the world, or I would just send them the most like the best love and just be like, I get it. Like it's awful, and I know that feeling. And um, I honestly would just encourage them to like get a mentor, wake up, go brush your teeth, like just do little things to prioritize yourself and just really try. Because I went through all these things, I know that I can't change people, but I can encourage by inspiration and by being the role model. So I can show them by my actions to inspire them. But if it doesn't speak to them, then it needs to be something or someone else. So I think the advice is just I would tell them to become obsessed with someone that you strive to be like and start mirroring everything they're doing. Um, yeah, that's what I would do. It's such a hard, complex topic. There's no right way, and everyone, you need to meet them where they're at. So, like I said, I think the best thing I would do is say to them, I see you, and I would give them a giant hug and hope that some of my positive vibes get translated onto them.
I love that so much. Thank you so
Mhm.
much, Lisa. If people watching this saw you as the person that they want to maybe, um, learn from, and maybe even like model themselves after parts of your journey. Obviously we met each other in Sanctum Circle, which I will put the links down below if you do want to join. But what are some of the other ways that people can get in touch with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Lisa Urbanski. I'm also on Instagram. And I have a profile on LinkedIn. And if you send me a direct message, Simon, if you want to put those in the show notes for people, you just
Mhm.
send me a direct message and we could set up a discovery call and see if I can help coach you or if there's opportunity for us to connect and work together because I do offer leadership, confidence coaching as well. So that would be an amazing opportunity for people. And I want to hear from everybody. And I'm here for them. They got to be ready. They got to be almost ready.
Mhm. Mhm. Lisa, thank you so much for showing up today. We all love receiving your energy. We all love hearing what it is that you have to say. And, just like, seeing you from the seeing you from the benches, I am one of your biggest cheerleaders. Because
Oh,
I know you're going to make it big, and I'll be happy to say that I met you when I did.
you're so sweet. Thank you so much, Simon. You're amazing. And I loved
Mhm.
talking with you today and I loved being here.
Yeah,